watching CNN News 18. I'm Arunima. Monkeypox is causing a scare after COVID. On the show tonight, we will answer all your queries about the disease, the symptoms, the treatment. But first, to the biggest exclusive. 2 people have been arrested from UP's Bijnor for trying to cause communal tension. The 2 men allegedly tried to portray themselves as Hindus while damaging Sufi mazars in their area. This is the 3rd such incident in the last few months, last few weeks that we have seen in Uttar Pradesh. We're asking if a grand conspiracy is underway to destabilize law and order and communal harmony in Uttar Pradesh.
हमारी सरकार पूरी तरह से सतर्कता के साथ आगे बढ़ रही है। किसी भी स्थिति में हम लाइन ऑर्डर को मेंटेन करेंगे। हम सभी लोगों को अपने धार्मिक कार्यों को, धार्मिक पूजा पाठ की इजाजत है, लेकिन हमको इससे देखना चाहिए कि दूसरे लोगों को इससे कोई व्यवधान न पड़े।
So there is a situation that is developing in the state of Uttar Pradesh. Today, 2 people have been arrested in Bijnor, but this isn't the first instance that we have seen in the last few days. Let's break down for you why we are questioning if a grand conspiracy is unfolding in the state of Uttar Pradesh. July 24th, 2 mazars in Bijnor were targeted. We've told you about it. Men wearing saffron safa. The pagdi that they were wearing was saffron in color. And what were they doing? Vandalizing 2 mazars in this area. As per police, they were even wanting to vandalize a 3rd mazar, but they were stopped in time. 2 arrested, identified as Kamal and Adil, but because they were wearing a saffron safa, what is being suspected is that they wanted to portray themselves as Hindus who were trying to damage these mazars. Bid to create tension during Kamar Yatra is what police suspects. That's what they've said. That the motive of this crime seems to be to destabilize communal peace in the area on the eve of the Kamar Yatra, which is ongoing. This is not the first time that this has happened. If you see, 17th of July in Rasulabad village of Kannauj, meat pieces were thrown into the village temple compound. This happened in Kannauj. Idols in 2 temples were desecrated and it led to a lot of communal tension. It disrupted the peace in the region. This was on 17th of July. Violent protests erupted. Shops were vandalized. So in the 17th July incident, it looked like whoever wanted to destabilize peace was successful. 28th of April in Ayodhya, there was bid to create unrest before Eid. Once again, similar modus operandi. There were miscreants who threw, letters, threatening letters, and also raw pieces of meat. This was thrown outside 4 mosques in that area. Once again, there was an attempt made to showcase that these were 2 different communities who were doing this. 7 people were arrested and booked under various sections of the Indian Penal Code. So you're seeing how repeatedly, people in Uttar Pradesh, people who want to damage the law and order situation of Uttar Pradesh are using this modus operandi. Pranchu Mishra is the one who's tracking that story very closely with us on the broadcast. Pranchu, repeatedly we are seeing the same template being used. The police suspects this is a grand conspiracy.
Yes, Arunima, you have rightly pointed out 3 incidents. And in fact, if you see at the first glimpse, all of these incidents seems to be clearly unattached to each other, and people have been arrested in most of these cases. You rightly said that in Kannauj case, unfortunately, the police failed to act in time and it led to communal tension, communal violence in the region. Fortunately, in case of Bijnor, yesterday, people were arrested, their real identities were exposed, and thereby communal hatred or the communal tension, violence, that was somehow averted. But the larger question is that, what went into that thought process of the 2 youths who have been arrested yesterday? Was it just their own individual idea to create unrest, or they were being governed by some larger conspiracy, larger planning, whether there was any, any other mastermind who was actually guiding them. Same question also goes in for the Ayodhya case, whether the 6 or 7 people who were arrested in case of Ayodhya, whether it was their individual decision to try and create unrest, or they were being provoked and guided by someone else. So as you rightly said, I think this is also the concern on the part of senior officials, including the top police and administrative officials, that whether there is a sinister plan of trying to throw different parts of the state in a, in a row of communal polarization, communal tension and violence. That what needs to be probed, and therefore the 2 people who have been arrested in case of Bijnor, both Muslim youths, they are being grilled, they are being thoroughly questioned to ascertain that whether it was just an individual, thought process, or they were being guided by someone. And in case there is a larger involvement of another organization or certain people, then clearly we can say that there is a sinister attempt to somehow disrupt and disturb the communal harmony which has been prevailing in Uttar Pradesh. Why that is happening, that is a larger question, and I think officers are clearly working on that direction.
Pranchu, thank you for that. You mentioned how the top brass of the Uttar Pradesh police is worried. Let me bring in Prashant Kumar, ADG Law and Order, to tell us more about what the Uttar Pradesh police is really thinking about these cases. Are these isolated cases or are they all linked? So thank you so much for taking time out and speaking to CNN News 18. Let me begin by asking you, what really are the facts as far as the Bijnor incident is concerned? What really happened there?
नहीं, ये कल की घटना है। कल दोपहर बाद ये सूचना मिली थी कि थाना शेरकोट क्षेत्र में एक जलाल शाह की मजार है, वहाँ पे कुछ असामाजिक तत्वों ने धार्मिक स्थल को, मजार को पे तोड़फोड़ की है तथा वहाँ के चादरें जला दी हैं। इस पे बहुत ही त्वरित गति से, बहुत ही क्विकली पुलिस वहाँ पहुँची और वहाँ पे चीज़ों का निरीक्षण कर रहे थे। तब तक ये सूचना आई कि वहाँ से कुछ दूर पर एक दूसरी मजार है भूरे शाह की, वहाँ भी इसी तरह की घटना कारित की गई है, जिसमें कि मजार को क्षति पहुँची है तथा कुछ आगजनी वहाँ के चादरों इत्यादि में की गई है।
तो ये जो घटना है, are you seeing this as a local law and order issue with local ramifications, या ये कोई larger conspiracy है? Is this a larger conspiracy meant for some larger purpose as far as the state of Uttar Pradesh is concerned?
नहीं, जो दूसरी घटना हुई तो उसके बाद से वहाँ स्थानीय रूमर मॉन्गरिंग ये भी शुरू हो गई कि धार्मिक ग्रंथ को भी क्षति पहुँची है। लेकिन पुलिस, चूँकि कल आपको पता होगा कि वेस्टर्न यूपी में कांवड़ का मेला चल रहा है और करोड़ों की संख्या में लोग वहाँ हरिद्वार से जल लेके विभिन्न राज्यों की तरफ जा रहे हैं, तो हमारी पुलिस पहले से अलर्ट थी और वहाँ तुरंत ही 2 व्यक्तियों को पकड़ा गया और बहुत ही सरप्राइजिंगली उन लोगों ने एक भगवे कलर का सैफरन रंग का सर पे पगड़ी बांध रखी थी, जिसको साफा बोलते हैं, और उन लोगों ने पूछताछ पर यह बात बताई कि उनके द्वारा ही ये घटना की गई थी और इनका नाम कमाल और आदिल, ये दोनों भाई हैं, इनके द्वारा ये घटनाएं की गई। और कड़ाई से पूछताछ करने में पता चला कि इन लोगों ने कल ही सुबह 11:30 बजे भी एक थर्ड मजार को भी क्षति पहुंचाई है। तो इस प्रकार जब कांवड़ का मेला चल रहा हो और कोई भी व्यक्ति सैफरन कलर का साफा पहन के 3 धार्मिक स्थलों को क्षतिग्रस्त करे, ये दर्शाता है कि वहाँ शांति व्यवस्था या जो कम्युनल हार्मोनी को डिस्टर्ब करने के क्लियर कट चांसेस थे और अटेम्प्ट था, जिसको पुलिस ने बहुत ही त्वरित कार्रवाई करते हुए चीज़ों को कंट्रोल किया और वहाँ के स्थानीय प्रशासन तथा जो पीस लविंग लोग हैं उनके साथ मिलके चीज़ों को कंट्रोल किया गया और एक बहुत बड़ी घटना प्रदेश स्तर पे होने से बच गई।
सर, आप कह रहे हैं कि इन लोगों ने सैफरन कलर का साफा बांध रखा था, क्या इंटरोगेशन के दौरान इन्होंने बताया, डिड दे रिवील व्हाई दे वेंट फॉर दैट कलर साफा? वाज दैट अ थॉट आउट conspiracy that they wanted to portray themselves as Hindus and therefore that safa? Anything else that they were doing to prove that they belong to the majority community?
नहीं, वो तो चूंकि लोकल लड़के थे, सभी लोग उनको जानते थे, इसलिए वो अपना नाम गलत नहीं पहुंचा पाए। लेकिन हम लोगों ने इस बार पूरे कांवड़ के मार्ग पे सीसीटीवी इत्यादि का कवरेज कर रखा है, तो अगर ये लोग नहीं पकड़े जाते और सीसीटीवी कवरेज से चीज़ों का परीक्षण होता तो यही लगता कि मजार के साथ छेड़छाड़ किसी ऐसे व्यक्ति ने किया है जिसने सैफरन कलर का साफा पहन रखा था। तो वैसी स्थिति में स्थिति काफ़ी गंभीर होती और चीज़ें किस तरह की उभरती इसके बारे में अभी से कुछ अंदाज़ा लगाना मुश्किल है। लेकिन फॉर्चुनेटली यूपी पुलिस के लिए, क्योंकि उन्होंने बहुत ही साइंटिफिक तरीके से चीज़ों को एविडेंसेस को एकत्रित करके इनको एप्रीहेंड किया तथा इनसे सारी चीज़ें पता चली।
तो उन्होंने कुछ बताया है पूछताछ में about who's behind them, who was egging them on? Was this conspiracy planned only by this duo?
नहीं, अभी तो हमारी जो स्टेट की सारी एजेंसी हैं इन सभी पहलुओं पर विचार कर रही है और उनके पास से जो और उनके घर से जो मटेरियल एविडेंसेस मिले हैं उसका परीक्षण कराया जा रहा है। और जो फैक्चुअल पोजीशन था मैंने आपको बता दिया। जैसे ही और भी कोई इम्पोर्टेंट ब्रेक थ्रू होगा तो हम प्रेस के अवश्य शेयर करेंगे। लेकिन मैं आपके माध्यम से इतना सबको बता देना चाहता हूं कि कल एक बहुत बड़ी सांप्रदायिक घटना होने से बच गई और ये केवल इसलिए हुआ कि शासन के निर्देश के हिसाब से पुलिस ने बहुत पुख्ता तैयारियां कर रखी थी। और हमारे सभी अधिकारी और हमारे जवान फील्ड में थे और बहुत ही जो गोल्डन आवर या गोल्डन मिनट्स जो होते हैं कोई घटना के बाद से, उसी दौरान हम लोगों ने इस पूरे प्रकरण को सॉल्व कर दिया और कल्प्रिट्स को गिरफ्तार कर लिया, जिससे कि कोई बड़ी वारदात नहीं होने पाई।
सर, आपके फोर्स को बधाई कि आपने इस घटना में अरेस्ट जल्दी कर लिया। यू मैनेज टू इंश्योर दैट थिंग्स डोंट गो आउट ऑफ हैंड, बट देयर आर आल्सो इंसिडेंट्स इन अयोध्या, देयर आर इंसिडेंट्स दैट हैपेंड इन कन्नौज। इन कन्नौज you couldn't prevent violence from happening because of a similar incident that happened. Do you see a larger conspiracy in what is happening and the way these incidents are being repeatedly given its final the way that the miscreants wanted to carry this out to harm the communal peace there? Do you see a grand conspiracy there for the state of Uttar Pradesh?
देखिए, ये कुछ ऐसे असामाजिक तत्व हैं जो लगातार ये कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि यहाँ की कानून व्यवस्था कुछ गड़बड़ हो जाए। क्योंकि पिछले 5.5 साल में लगभग किसी भी तरीके की कोई कम्युनल घटना नहीं होने पाई है और वर्तमान सरकार लॉ एंड ऑर्डर के मामले में या क्राइम और क्रिमिनल के बारे में जीरो टॉलरेंस रखती है। तो ऐसी स्थिति में राज्य सरकार को गलत रूप से प्रोजेक्ट करने के लिए ये प्रयास चल रहे हैं। आपने देखा होगा कि नुपुर शर्मा के बयान के बाद भी कुछ लोगों ने माहौल ख़राब करने की कोशिश की थी। उसी तरह से अग्निवीर के समय भी कुछ जगहों पर यह प्रयास हुए थे, लेकिन यूपी पुलिस ने बहुत ही इफेक्टिव और बहुत ही स्ट्रिक्ट एक्शन लिया, जिसके कारण स्थिति नियंत्रण में आ गई। और आगे भी हम लोग आने वाले त्यौहार हैं, जैसे श्रावण के भी जो त्यौहार बचे हैं, जिसमें से 2 सोमवार हैं, श्रावण शिवरात्रि है, नाग पंचमी है, रक्षाबंधन है और उसके तुरंत बाद मुहर्रम का त्यौहार है जी। तो हम लोग सभी चीज़ों को परंपरागत तरीके से संपन्न कराएंगे और साथ ही साथ ऐसे उपद्रवी तत्व, असामाजिक तत्व जो कि स्थितियों को बिगाड़ना चाहते हैं, उसके विरुद्ध हम लोग बहुत ही इफेक्टिव और स्ट्रिक्ट एक्शन लेंगे।
तो सर आपने जिक्र किया नुपुर शर्मा एजिटेशन का, अग्निवीर प्रोटेस्ट का, एंड नाउ दिस. If there is a grand conspiracy like you're suspecting, who could be behind this? Political opponents of the current regime, or are you seeing a foreign hand?
No, I don't think I should comment on these things. And as a police officer, it is my duty, it is my obligation to maintain law and order, and with the backing of government and under the leadership of DGP UP, we are totally capable of controlling the law and order in the state and unearth any conspiracy which is there to create communal disturbance or any kind of law and order problem in the state.
Right. ADG Prashant Kumar, thank you so much for speaking to CNN News 18. So the big news point that we have from that interview, viewers, is this suspicion that police has that there is a pattern. The agitation that they saw after the Nupur Sharma comment, the agitation, the protest that they saw in wake of the Agniveer scheme of government, and now what is happening now, what we have seen in Bijnor, Ayodhya and Kannauj. There is a pattern that the police suspects. To discuss that further, let me bring in former DGP of Uttar Pradesh, Arvind Kumar, Maulana Masood Kasmi, Islamic scholar, also Bharatiya Janata Party spokesperson Rakesh Tripathi is joining us on the phone line. Thank you to all three of you for taking time out. Rakesh Tripathi, सबसे पहले आपसे ही पूछना चाहती हूँ, अगर आपने एडीजी साहब की बात सुनी, what he said was that in the last 5 years or so, there has been zero tolerance in Uttar Pradesh for communal tension, communal violence, and police suspects that has made lawbreakers desperate. वो किसी भी तरह communal tension create करना चाहते हैं क्योंकि पिछले 5 सालों में वो ऐसा कर नहीं पाए।
प्रदेश की एक नियति बन गई थी, उत्तर प्रदेश की पहचान बन गई थी सपा बसपा के शासनकाल में कि उत्तर प्रदेश के हर जिले में कर्फ्यू लगाने की नौबत आ जाया करती थी, हर जिले में सांप्रदायिक दंगे हुआ करते थे। लेकिन जब से उत्तर प्रदेश में योगी आदित्यनाथ जी के नेतृत्व की सरकार बनी वर्ष 2017 के बाद से हमने उत्तर प्रदेश से सांप्रदायिक दंगों को पूरी तरह से आज समाप्त करने का काम किया, उसका सफाया करने का काम किया है। लेकिन कुछ लोगों को बात ये नागवार गुजर रही है क्योंकि 2022 का विधानसभा का चुनाव भी हमने उत्तर प्रदेश में एक स्ट्रांग कानून व्यवस्था के नाम पर लड़ा है। ये हो सकता है कुछ लोगों को नागवार गुजर रही है और लगातार षड्यंत्र रचने का काम इस तरह का कर रहे हैं कि कैसे उत्तर प्रदेश के सांप्रदायिक सद्भाव को बिगाड़ा जा सके, कैसे उत्तर प्रदेश में कानून व्यवस्था को चुनौती दी जा सके, कैसे अमन चैन को खतरा पहुंचाया जा सके। ये प्रयास लगातार किए जा रहे हैं, लेकिन उत्तर प्रदेश की पुलिस ने लगातार ऐसे प्रयासों को नेस्तनाबूद करने का काम किया है। जो इसमें आरोपी हैं, अपराधी हैं, उनकी समय रहती गिरफ्तारी हुई है। और मैं आपके इस चैनल के माध्यम से उत्तर प्रदेश की विशेष तौर पर जनता से भी अपील करूंगा कि वो किसी भी प्रकार की ऐसी उकसावेपूर्ण कार्रवाई या किसी प्रकार की बातचीत के बहकावे में ना आए। उत्तर प्रदेश की पुलिस पर, उत्तर प्रदेश की सरकार पर भरोसा करें। अगर कोई भी व्यक्ति इस प्रकार का षड्यंत्र करता हुआ पाया जाएगा तो उसके खिलाफ बहुत ठोस और कठोर कार्रवाई उत्तर प्रदेश की पुलिस करेगी। उत्तर प्रदेश के मुख्यमंत्री योगी आदित्यनाथ जी ने बहुत स्पष्ट निर्देश दे रखे हैं। किसी भी व्यक्ति ने किसी भी रंग का गमछा डाल रखा हो, किसी भी रंग का उसने कोई भी वस्त्र पहन रखा हो, किसी भी जाति या मजहब का हो, अगर उसने कानून व्यवस्था को चुनौती देने का कोई भी काम किया है, अगर उसने सांप्रदायिक सद्भाव को बिगाड़ने के लिए किसी भी प्रकार का प्रयास किया है, तो उसके खिलाफ बहुत ठोस और कठोर कार्रवाई की जाए। अगर आप देखें पिछले दिनों में तो राष्ट्रीय सुरक्षा कानून का भी उत्तर प्रदेश की सरकार ने बड़े पैमाने पर प्रयोग किया है।
और ऐसे अपराधी दीजिएगा मुझे, जो सवाल आपने उठाया कि कुछ लोग हैं जो ये कंस्पिरेसी कर रहे हैं, आखिर ये कौन लोग हैं? Who are these people? मौलाना मसूद काजमी, why would a Mohammed Kamal or a Mohammed Adeeb think that just wearing a saffron safa will make them look like people who are for part of a Kamal Yatra? Why do they think that doing this and by damaging mazars they will be able to cause tension there? They're local boys. What really is happening as per you?
Arunima, this is very chilling incidents and shivering for the peace-loving people of the country. This clearly shows that such people have no respect for either religion, for Islam or for Sanatan. They are anti-national, they are anti-social element, they should be dealt sternly as per the law. They should, but I read more than this. I read more than this. These people, Adeeb, reportedly, this person Adeeb, reportedly has gone abroad. And there should be, maybe, might be some other conspiracy also. In Wahhabi ideology, Salafi ideology, mazar is haram, forbidden. So such people might have tried to achieve their two goals.
So rather
Their
than Hindu
two
Muslim, you are
objects.
saying this could
One,
be hardliners versus Sufis.
नो समथिंग इसमें कई चीजें हो सकती हैं. एक तो ये भी है कि हिंदू मुस्लिम कम्युनल राइट, दिस इज एन अटेम्प्ट टू स्टिल द कम्युनल राइट. अनोदर दूसरी बात ये हो सकती है, एज पर दियर इफ दे आर ऑफ वहाबी आइडियोलॉजी, सो टू इट दे मे बी they may be linked to the foreign people, to the Saudi.
I actually asked that question to ADG Prashant Kumar, and he said that investigation is still on. We still don't know who are behind it. But Arvind Kumar Jain, I'm coming back to you, Maulana Kazmi. I just want to take that point further. Arvind Kumar Jain, what has happened in Bijnor is not an isolated incident. Like we just showed to you, similar things happened in Ayodhya. I'm coming back to you, Maulana Kazmi, just taking off from what you said. Similar incident was reported in Ayodhya. Similar incident was reported in Kannauj. Kannauj, in fact, it led to violence. Today in Bijnor, mercifully, police could intervene just in time. It's evident whoever is conspiring thinks that the law and order situation of Uttar Pradesh might be in tight hands, but society-wise, things are so fraught that a slight push could lead to communal violence. Do you think that is the assessment of people who are conspiring?
These two people were naturally conspiring for a bigger incident in Sherkot Kasbah. Sherkot is a very, very communally, very hypersensitive town of district Bijnor, and it has a large Muslim population. So, because of quick action on the part of police and administration and support of local people, because some people had seen these two people, Mohammed Kamal and Mohammed Adil, moving from one mazar to another. Naturally, most of the people, common people, they are peace loving in the state, and they don't want any communal trouble, because if there is a curfew, then naturally the poor people suffer, and they don't want this kind of situation. I congratulate Bijnor police for taking very firm and very quick action. The same way they had taken action at Ayodhya also against the fringe elements who were posing as Muslims by putting skull caps. These people were putting saffron safa, and they were trying to pass off as Hindus, damaging mazars. You know, several Hindus also visit mazars, and they have they visit them regularly along with Muslims. But this kind of incident, some conspiracy might be there, some foreign hand might be there, because some people are alleging that these people were working at the behest of some group, and ATS has also questioned them. ATS UP, it's a very, very, very competent organization, and they are also looking into it. And I think within 4-5 days, if there is a deeper conspiracy, if there is a sinister plot, it will be unveiled.
All right. I'm afraid I'm really running out of time. I know, Maulana Kazmi, you wanted to make your point. I will save that discussion for another day. Rakesh Tripathi, thank you so much for joining us. Arvind Kumar Jain, thanks for taking time out. One thing that all my panelists, as well as the ADG, agrees is that this is definitely a conspiracy. We don't know by whom. We don't know whether political opponents or foreign powers or people who don't want UP to be stable, who is behind this conspiracy. But the police is acting. In the case of Bijnor, they have acted in no time. Hopefully, with cooperation from the local people, they will manage to ensure that this conspiracy is not successful. On that note, I'll say thank you to my guests and move on to the second story that we are bringing to you this evening. Fourth case of monkeypox in the country has been confirmed in Delhi. Importantly, an individual who has no history of international travel. The affected individual is being treated at Delhi's LNJP hospital. The Delhi government has formed a special medical team to tackle the monkeypox threat and has assured citizens that the situation is under control. The 3 earlier cases, all in Kerala, have been detected in individuals who had arrived from the UAE. Beyond this, there is a suspected case of monkeypox in Telangana as well. A 40-year-old has travel history to Kuwait. He's under scrutiny. So we are trying to figure out what really are the symptoms of monkeypox. How is it that you should know if God forbid this disease comes knocking to your doorsteps? What are the things that you should watch out for? Symptoms typically shows as fever, rash, swollen lymph nodes. So if you have any of these, of all of these, be sure that you get medical aid. Symptoms resemble smallpox, but they're less contagious. That's something that should give you a little bit of hope. They're not that contagious. So these are the symptoms. The symptoms last anything between 2 to 4 weeks, depending upon what your immunity level are. Mostly not severe, but recent fertility rate is 3 to 6%. Close contacts with infected person or animal could be the reason why it spreads. Contact with contaminated material, if you're using the same bed, using the same linen, that could be a reason for spread as well. Lesions, body fluids, respiratory droplets, all of this could carry the virus further. Who's at the highest risk? Newborns, young children. They are the category who are most vulnerable. People with underlying immune deficiencies are also vulnerable. They are the category which are at highest risk as far as this disease is concerned. So, if you are a health worker, of course, health workers are at risk constantly for any disease. So if you're a health worker, there's a problem. How can you protect yourself? Clean and disinfect possibly contaminated environment. Stay informed on monkeypox in your area. Hold open conversations on symptoms. Don't hide it. On infection suspicion, isolate and get yourself tested. That's very important. Don't hide yourself. Get the medical aid that is required. One vaccine specifically approved to prevent monkeypox. So if your question is if a vaccine is available, the answer is yes. Antiviral agent developed for treatment, now licensed. So there is hope. There is a vaccine there on the anvil. Smallpox vaccine provides protection as well. So those are the questions as far as what really you should be looking out for now when monkeypox is spreading. But to understand this further, Dr. Narendra Kumar Mehra, former Dean of All India Institute of Medical Sciences, is here with me. So first thing first, this is looking like deja vu. When COVID outbreak began in Delhi, if you recall, the first gentleman who got admitted to LNJP, he had a birthday party for his child, and even then people were not very sure what was happening. Same trajectory, 3 people, 4 people. In the case of COVID, it suddenly burst. Do you see something similar for monkeypox?
Well, as you know, the first case in India was reported on July 14, and by in about 10 days' time, we already have 4 to 5 individuals who have been confirmed to have the monkeypox. I would say that is not much to worry, but one has to be very careful. Everything seems to be under control. The ICMR has immediately come into action. They have already, the National Institute of the National Institute of Virology has already actually isolated the virus. They have even sequenced the virus, about 179,000 base pairs, which means that we are well on our way to also have a good vaccine as well. They've also immediately sort of trained 15 laboratories all over India, making sure that they are in all regions of India.
Okay.
And they have already also shared their reagents as well. So I think one has to be very careful, and you have stated it all very, very well, how to be very careful. One has to be careful. The disease can last between 2 to 4 weeks. The severe cases can occur, but not as many.
Right.
We have already learned a lot from our COVID experience.
So I have 2 very quick questions, if you allow me to come in on that. First, is this fatal? How we saw Delta of COVID, and that trauma is still there in the minds of people. Hence, this question that people are asking.
Yeah, monkeypox is known to be less contagious than the smallpox. Less, of course, much less than the COVID actually. But it also known to cause very less severe illness as well. But one has to be careful. I don't think there are anything that is there to worry about.
Okay.
But I'm again and again saying one has to be cautious.
And my last question, sir. And my last question, like we said, one of the most vulnerable populations seems to be newborns, small children, young children. Again, to draw a comparison with COVID, schools were shut down. Parents were told, keep your children indoors, don't send them to the park. And it had disastrous effect on their mental health. I hope we are not going to see anything identical.
No, I don't think we are going to be seeing anything of that sort so far. Everybody has reacted very well. Everybody has taken action. WHO has already declared it as a public health emergency of international concern. So, I mean, we do see that there are about 17,000 cases have become known, and that is also in about 75 countries. Mostly, this monkeypox is known to be in Central African Congo. Is a country over there, and also in the West African states.
All right.
But it has now come to many countries now. That's the cause of worry.
All right, Dr. Mehra, I'm afraid I've completely run out of time, but I'm sure we'll have this detailed discussion another day. Thank you so much for joining us and clearing all our doubts. If you want to know more, you can listen to that conversation and see that broadcast once again on news18.com. That's all that I have time for.